Assalamu alaikum students. Hope you all are fine by the grace of Allah. Today we are going to read a chapter from your textbook 2 lakhs of 4, which is at page number 51 till page number 58. So students, open up your books and place in front of you and let's start reading this chapter. At page number 51 students, we have a chapter 2 lakhs or 4. When the family brought the new puppy home, Mum said, "Now then, we must choose a name." They all stood staring at the pup. It had droopy ears and a rather long tail. No one knew quite what sort of dog it was. "Come on," said Dad, "what shall we call him?" Mandy, who was 6, nearly 7, said Jeremy. Now, students, you can see here there is a family who brought the new puppy their home, and they were planning to give a name to this puppy. They all were standing up and staring, watching that puppy. It had a droopy, hanging ears and a long tail. No one knew that what kind of dog it is. So the dad asked, "What should we call him?" Mandy, who was nearly 7 years old, called him Jeremy. Why Jeremy? After Jeremy Fisher, we read about him in school today. But he was a frog, not a dog. "I would like him to call Coco," said Polly, who was 5. "Why Coco?" "Because he's sort of chocolate colored and that's my favorite." The trouble with names like Jeremy and Coco is that they are so long, said Dad. "A dog should really have a short name. It's easier for him to learn and for us to say." "I know," said Ben. Ben was 3. "What?" they all said. "We could call him Ben," said Ben. "But that's your name too," they all cried. "I know, but it's short." "That's silly," said Mandy. "I shall call him Jeremy," and she walked out of the room, calling, "Come along, Jeremy," but the puppy took no notice. Everyone suggested the puppy's name. Someone say Jeremy, someone say Coco, someone said Ben. But when they called the puppy Jeremy, the puppy did not react and took no notice. Then Polly walked out too, calling Coco, "Come along, Coco," but the puppy still took no notice. It stayed sitting in front of the small boy, wagging its rather long tail. In some ways, they were rather alike. Both had brown hair and short legs and were rather fat. "You try going out of the room, Ben," said Dad. "And you call the puppy," said Mum. "And see what happens," they said. They smiled at one another. Nothing would happen, they thought. "Okay," said Ben. "Come on, Ben," he said, and he went out with the puppy, following. Mum and Dad looked at one another with their mouths open. Andy tried calling this puppy Jeremy, but it took no notice. Polly tried calling him Coco, but it took no notice. But when Ben called him Ben, and his parents told him to call him Ben, so when he called him, he went out with Ben. These both now have same names. Mandy and Polly came running back into the room. "It's not fair," they cried. He's our puppy too, but he's just following Ben around the garden and he won't come when we call him." "What did you call?" asked Dad. "Jeremy," said Mandy. "Coco," said Polly. Try saying Ben, said Mum. So they all went into the garden, and the two girls called Ben, and the puppy came running. See, said Mum, he answers to this name. It's going to be very confusing, said Dad. As time went by, they found it was useful to have both a son, a dog with the same name. Because Mandy and Polly were at school, Ben spent all day with Ben. The same word served for both. Be quiet, for example, stop. One yelling and the other yapping. Both came when name was called and sat down when ordered to, and each looked equally pleased when told, "What a good boy, Ben." Polly were not happy because the puppy was not listening their name Jeremy and Coco when they were trying saying this name calling him, but the puppy was not giving them any response. But when they called him Ben, puppy came running. Okay, their mum told them that called him Ben. It's going to be very confusing, said Dad, because his son and his puppy both had same names. Indeed, Ben was a good puppy. He never made a mess, he never chewed curtains and covers, he ate well, and he slept soundly at night, and he copied everything that the boy did. If Ben laughed, Ben barked. If Ben cried, Ben howled. If Ben lost his temper and roared, Ben growled. Whatever the boy Ben does, same thing does the dog, the puppy Ben. When he laughs, Ben barks. When he cries, Ben howls. When he's lost his temper, when he becomes angry, then Ben growled. And one day, Mum looked out of the window to see not one but two Bens turning somersaults on the lawn. Sometimes, of course, there was confusion like, I took Ben to have this japs today, to the doctor or the vet, or Ben wants a biscuit, custard cream or dog biscuit, or Ben's been ever so good today. Page number 56. Good boy or good dog, but mostly it worked very well until one day all changed. Dad came home to find Mum very worried. Sometimes they get confused that who is talking about which band, boy band or a dog band. Whenever they say some sentences, they get confused that of which band anyone is talking about. Until one day all changed. Dad came home to find Mum very worried. Thank goodness you are back, she said. Why, what's up? Ben's been very naughty, said Mandy. He won't do a single thing, Mum says, added Polly. Which Ben? 2 legs or 4? 2, said Mum. At that moment, Ben the boy came into the room, followed by the Ben the dog. Speak to him, said Mum to Dad. Come here, Ben, said Dad. The dog obeyed. The boy stayed where he was. Do you hear me, Ben? Said Dad. The boy did not reply. The dog wagged its rather long tail. Okay, one day what happened that Mum was very worried and he was complaining about Ben, his boy. And when his father called Ben, his son Ben, then the dog came and he was wagging his tail, moving up and down his tail, and his son Ben did not come and he stared where he was. You see, said Mum. Dad went and squatted down before his son. What's the matter? Why don't you answer me? I thought you were talking to the dog. You said, come here, Ben, and do you hear me, Ben? Okay. When the father called his son Ben, Ben did not come. His son did not come, and he thought that he was calling his dog, his puppy. But actually, his father was calling his son. And his father asked him, what is the matter? Why don't you answer me? So Ben answered him, I thought you were talking to the dog, and you said, come here, Ben, and do you hear me, Ben? His son Ben was thinking that his father was calling to the dog Ben. But that's your name too, they all cried. They all shouted that when they are calling Ben, he should look at them that which Ben they are calling. No, it is not, said the small boy. He stroked the fat puppy's brown hairy coat. He can keep that name, he said. I have grown out of it. It's too short. I need a new one. Now this boy Ben is asking for naming him with a new name. What do you want us to call you then? Asked Mum. His mum was asking that what do you want them to call him? Jeremy, said Mandy. Coco, said Polly. Their little brother shook his head. Not long enough, he said. Well, let's see, said Dad, laughing. How about Bartholomew? At the sound of the name, the puppy wagged its rather long tail like mad. The boy grinned all over his face. He likes it, cried his sisters. Bartholomew, cried his mother. Yes, Mum. So finally, he changed his name. Students, note down the working which you have to do in your copies. Firstly, you have to do words meaning. These 3 words meaning from your textbook. After this, we have question answers. Totally, we have 4 questions and answers. So you just have to copy down all 4 questions and answers in your copies. Students, here it is your reference to context from your book. This is first and this is the second one, reference to context. Copy these questions in your copy. After this, we have true and false. Do it in your copy. After this, we have make sentences, which you have to do yourself. You have to make sentences yourself. Here is exercise C3, in which you have to use correct vowels. So I have given you the answer. Copy it in your copies. Take care. Allah Hafiz, students.